Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to episode 19 of the International Pentagon Challenge. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you'll have watched the previous 3 episodes and you'll have been aware of the fact that the African Cup of Nations as manager of Angola, our first main managerial international job, was highly disappointing despite the fact that, to be fair, in terms of our World Cup qualifier games and the build-ups in terms of beating better teams in friendlies and whatnot, our preparation was spot on. And the thing is, we finished top of our qualification group, above Morocco, and we even beat Morocco in the process. And what was really frustrating was we drew against Ghana, we lost to Algeria, but if we'd beat Zimbabwe, because Ghana and Algeria also dropped points, we'd have finished top of that group, I think it was, or at least qualified if we'd got 3 points against Zimbabwe. So really, Zimbabwe kind of ruined it for us, dare I say it, because Ghana and Algeria I think were respectable results, because even though Algeria, FIFA World Ranking wise, are like lower than us, I mean, they still had a much better team on paper, and it showed in the match, I think. Even though maybe I think I could have handled the substitutions a little bit better and whatnot. I also think it's really disappointing that, obviously, as you can see, I wasn't allowed to carry on with my job. So you guys obviously wouldn't have seen the sacking in the last episode, because to be fair, I didn't actually think I would get sacked, but sackings kick in at the end of international tournaments, which is something I forgot, rather than you getting sacked straight away. So the episode kind of finished, and as I was kind of pressing continue and getting on with my life, I then got the sack. So as you can see, I am currently unemployed. It's been a while since the African Cup of Nations. It's been about 6 months that we've been searching for a job. And just to clarify, like, those episodes were recorded a week ago when I was ill. I'm recording this exactly like 5-6 days later because I recorded all the African Cup of Nations games in one go because I was anticipating losing my voice. So the kind of days between those episodes and today, I had no voice. So it was a good job that I recorded all those episodes. I'm still kind of ill, but I'm much better now. I'm recovering. Got a bit of a blocked nose, but hopefully, we can get on with this. So let's actually go and take a look at how Angola have been getting on, since my departure, because obviously I was looking forward to, the big World Cup qualifier game against Senegal, and we were deprived from it, really. So as we can see, the new manager got a respectable draw. This was obviously after we got sacked. He got a respectable draw against Senegal, and he was looking alright. Then a decent 1-0 win against Kenya, and you think to yourself, yeah, away from home, tough. And then he drew 2-2 against Benin, which kind of left him in a weird scenario, and he kind of needed a point against Senegal, and he didn't get it. So, yeah. And obviously the fact that only one team qualifies from each of these groups to the World Cup is really harsh, and that loss against Senegal in the final game was really what decided his fate. But if you compare, my results as a whole, all you just see is green, man. I really don't understand why they sacked me. And I think we were building something special with Angola. I really do. But it's their loss now. We got the reputation boost that we wanted from managing within the Africa Cup of Nations. Now that we're unemployed, obviously that should help us in terms of applying for jobs. Interesting point, Benin did actually offer me the job. Other than just constantly trying to qualify for the African Cup of Nations and then just not having a good enough team in the African Cup of Nations to really do much, whilst I think Angola's a better team overall, there's not really much we can do. So I'm kind of looking for a team that kind of participate obviously in their main continent's cup, but also have some small cups on the side, like you do with some European teams, some Asian teams and whatnot. Because if we can win a bit of silverware, that might help our reputation. But most importantly, In terms of looking for a new job, if you go to the job security page, you can see the reputation rating of different teams, right? So the idea for us, in order to increase our reputation, I think, should get an automatic reputation increase if we end up joining a country that has a higher rep than us. So if we take a look at my profile, I currently have a reputation, a minimal reputation, 1 star. Obviously, when it started off, it was like less than half a star, and this was at like 5%. We've managed to build it up to 20%, competing within the African Cup of Nations. So really, for me, the next jump, because all the game really does when you apply for jobs is compare your reputation rating to the country's reputation rating, is basically get a job where their country's reputation rating is higher than mine. And I'm kind of pointing at North Korea. And I've been applying for a lot of jobs. A lot of them have been mugging me off. Now, the World Cup is coming up this summer, but I don't actually feel like, even if I waited until after the World Cup, I'm not actually convinced any of the teams within the World Cup would offer me a job, because they've got better options. And a lot of managers got sacked after the African Cup of Nations, Algeria, Morocco, like Ivory Coast, decent countries like that. And despite my experience in Africa, none of them offered me a job. So we've been job hunting, and we're going to North Korea, I think. I mean, it's a bit of a weird decision. We got offered some other jobs as well. I'm not actually sure if they'll come up if I search for them. So as you can see, Moldova were relatively fond of us. I tried applying for places like Bosnia, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Egypt, but none of them wanted it basically. And the reason is, you look at like Chile, you look at the other options that they have. They got this guy on 3.5 stars. So when the AI is going to choose between him or me, regardless of the country's reputation, which is a lot higher than my own personal reputation, they're always going to prefer them. Even Iceland, I think, was a realistic proposition, and Iceland will be a nice team to manage in the future, maybe, if our reputation can increase. But again, the AI tends to go for managers who are of that same nation, who can speak the same language and whatnot when they're available. So in this case, they went with this guy. But we have been searching. Moldova was obviously also a decent kind of shout, because I think they take part in like some small, like this Nations League division thing, which would have been quite nice, because like, as you can see, they had teams like Cyprus, Azerbaijan, San Marino in their group, so like kind of poorer European sides. But I think we've got to aspire for more than 900 quid a week, or 950 quid a week in comparison to what we were on at Angola. And then North Korea came along, offering £2,100 per week. Now, obviously, there's a big chance I may not ever see any of that money. There's a big chance I may get thrown in a dungeon somewhere for failing to win my first match. But that's a risk I'm willing to take at the moment. So it does look like we are going to North Korea. Not really fond of the fact that our first friendly game, thanks to the last manager, is going to be against Lebanon, which is a team I would like to manage sometime throughout this save. And as you can see, we're currently 78th in the world rankings. The problem is, looking at a lot of these players, other than maybe these two lads that play for Perugia and Cagliari in Serie A, I've not really heard of any of them, to be honest. I mean, I've not even heard of these two, but at least you can tell that these two are half decent straight away. If we look at their schedule and see how they kind of did in the past, as we can see, it is tough in Asia. It really, really is tough in Asia. In the World Cup qualifier group, Japan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Like, these are countries that are better than North Korea. But I think we overachieved with Angola, and I think I can overachieve in North Korea if I can, build some kind of tactical approach that gets the best out of the players, like we did with Angola. So these kind of countries like Qatar, 45th, but Qatar's Qatar. I mean, the main issue with Qatar is that Qatar have this history of bringing in like Argentinians and Brazilians and whatnot, and giving them Qatar nationalities and passports, and that thus allows them to play in their national team. Like, I know, because if you go back a few years, for those that don't know, like a few years ago, Lebanon came very, very close to qualifying for their first ever World Cup. They got past the group stages and they ended up facing Qatar. Now, a massive scandal happened where a lot of the players sold out and took bribes from like Qatari sheikhs or something to throw the game. And if you go back and Google the highlights or something, you'll see the goal we conceded was like a really shit pass back from our defender to Sebastian Soria, who's like a Uruguayan Qatari striker, who ended up scoring 1-1, and then Qatar won 1-0. And obviously that was the game over and done with. But Qatar have this really bad history of bringing in foreigners, giving them nationality, getting them to play in their league, and then just letting them play for their national team, even though they can't even speak the bloody lingo, which is yeah, a bit shit. But the point is that I feel like maybe if we get lucky, you know, these kind of teams like Qatar, Saudi Arabia in our continent are teams we might be able to beat. And if you look at the last manager's recent results, like a decent win against China, China are a half decent side. A draw against Japan. Japan are probably the best side in Asia. 35th in the world, and then only a 2-1 loss in the Korea derby. You know, South Korea are a very, very good team, and if you compare South Korea to North Korea, South Korea, you know, are easily the dominant of the two Koreas. But let's not forget as well that in the 2006 World Cup, North Korea made the World Cup, so there is potential in this North Korean side. We can take a look at players just real quickly right now, but I'm not really sure whether or not we'll be able to see too many attributes. Well, yeah, of course we can see attributes because we've got shit tons of scouts. That's actually very good. It seems like the North Korean team, I probably want to change my assistant manager, Ri Kuk Chol, to someone a little bit better. So taking a look at some of our better players, we've got Kim Yu-song, who's on top of the recommended list. There we go. 28 years of age, so obviously anyone above the age of 30 isn't really going to be in my plans, unless they have like real good natural fitness and they play at a high level, which probably means that they'll carry on playing until 35, 36, and they are really genuinely that good. So Kim Yu-song, half decent player it seems, decent acceleration, finishing composure, other decent players, we've got Cho Seong-hook, Hyok, that's how you say it. Apparently know absolutely nothing about him, even though we apparently do. I mean, he recommends him 100% to me, yet knows absolutely nothing about his stats. Okay. Han Kwang-song, contracted to Cagliari. To be fair, this guy is probably good because he plays for Cagliari. And to be fair, I think I'm just going to put an end to the video here, guys. So that's the update on what's going on in our International Pentagon Challenge. I obviously need to sort stuff out behind the scenes and try and figure out what the hell some of these players' attributes are and whatnot, and try and get some scouts sorted out. But yeah, there you go. So players like for example, okay, like look at this guy's face. Like Ri Yong Chol, 30 years old. Like he's got decent tackling and marking, but 3 crossing, and he's 30 years old. So like I think I'd opt to like see what other options, younger options we've got, and try and build that way. You know what I mean? In terms of what tournaments we've got coming up, apparently the AFC Asian Cup in 2 years is basically the main priority. Now, it says qualifiers and says that we're one of the first seeds, PRK, first seeds. I'm not sure if that means we've already qualified or whether we're going to be like a first seed in the qualifier and how on earth the qualifier works. I don't know. But just take a look at Wikipedia. They've not qualified for many AFC Asian Cups, have North Korea, so that's going to be a challenge in its own right. But if we go to my profile, as expected, my reputation has now gone up from minimal to nominal, 1.5 stars, from 20 to 25, just by taking the North Korea job. So regardless of how good or how poorly we do in this job, like as long as we do okay, and if we can make it to the Asian Cup, happy days. Worst case scenario, we stay in the job until like this next EAFF East Asian Cup. I'm not sure like when the next one is. We like automatically qualify for it. Okay, so there's one every 2 years, so there'll be one in 2023 as well. And because we automatically qualify, it's always South Korea, North Korea, Japan and China, I think. Yeah, so we're like basically guaranteed. I'd like to think we're guaranteed a bit of a rep boost by playing against teams like South Korea, Japan and China. And if we get some decent results there, then we stand a good chance. And at the moment, really, it's just all about getting as much experience as we can as a manager. You know, try to get... My nose is... I can't breathe through my nose at the moment. I'm talking with my mouth. Get our reputation as high as possible until we can actually start moving into the better international jobs and move on from there. Win percentage-wise, 70%. So that's pretty decent for our International Pentagon Challenge career so far. And yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. So North Korea is going to be an interesting one. I think what's going to be even more interesting is trying to pronounce half of these names. Ju Kwang-min, Ri Yong-chol, So Hyun-uk, So Kyung-jin. So yeah, I mean, I found it hard to remember names at Angola. Like,
I don't mean to sound like a bit of a prick, but all these names sound the same to me. So we might just end up nicknaming everyone. We'll have to wait and see. But I am really looking forward to this. New continent, new challenge, and when the World Cup is over, if it looks like we've got some two-star nations fishing about, it probably won't hurt to try and apply for one of them jobs as well. If we can keep on, just trying to move forwards with our career. But at the moment, I'm not too disheartened about getting sacked by Angola, because we got that 5% boost for managing the African Cup of Nations, and literally in a matter of months, we've got another 5% boost just by managing North Korea. We've done literally nothing and just gotten that boost for free because we're now managing another country of a higher reputation, or of equivalent reputation, to be honest, because if you look at Angola's reputation, they're 2 stars, but I don't think they were 2 stars when I first joined them, because I've helped them a fair bit and broken a lot of records with them. But that is going to be it for this episode. Let me know if you're looking forward to managing North Korea. If there isn't an episode like after this one, just get on the blower to MI6 or something, because I think it'll be self-explanatory what's happened to me. I'll have gone missing in North Korea somewhere, as we've unfortunately seen happen to a lot of people in the past. But fingers crossed. I hear they are a footballing nation, so fingers crossed I won't go missing. If I do, help. Thanks for watching. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm really looking forward to this new challenge.